You want to know what's going on here in the local Southern Oregon real estate market, not New York, LA, or Texas, right? It's current and local information that's going to help you make the best decisions about buying or selling in Southern Oregon or even moving to Southern Oregon. And that's exactly what you're going to get in this video right here and all the other videos on this channel. They say a home is the biggest investment most Americans are ever going to make in your lifetime. And that explains why so many of us homeowners are glued to websites like Zillow, checking out how our home value is performing month to month or year over year, okay? So in this video, I'm gonna tell you what's really happening to Southern Oregon home prices so you can see how your investment is performing relative to the other cities and even counties of Southern Oregon. So you ready? Let's get into it. Hey, I'm Brian Simmons, licensed real estate agent here in Southern Oregon with eXp Realty, and I would love to hear from you. So if there's anything I can do to help you learn, buy, or list real estate here in Southern Oregon, I hope you won't hesitate to reach out. You can call or text me at 541-954-7758. And obviously leave a comment down below too if there's anything you have to add to the conversation, anything I missed or anything that you think I should have brought up. So I know you want to get right into what's really happening with Southern Oregon home prices, and that is exactly what we are going to do. We're going to jump right into that, and then I will tell you a little bit about the Southern Oregon real estate market information, the latest data from the last week, and what that is all looking like. But let's go ahead and dive in and talk about the home values, okay? And so what is really happening to Southern Oregon home prices, the story here is that it really just depends on where you are at, okay? What part of Southern Oregon you live in, what city you live in, what county you live in, because the surprising reality is that it's actually a very different story depending on where you are, okay? And so what I did is I looked at it's September, or sorry, guys, today is October 4th, but I looked at the data from January 1st, 2023 through the end of September 2023. Okay, so we have 9 whole months of data to look at, and we're looking at what has happened to the home prices in Southern Oregon across that time span. Okay, so to have some consistency, we are only looking at closed transactions, and we're only looking at single family residential homes. Okay, so we're not looking at condos, we're not looking at manufactured homes in a park, commercial properties, investment properties like multifamily. Not looking at any of that. Only single family residential homes, and we're not being any more specific than that by saying we're only going to look at small lots or big lots or whatever. We're looking at just the whole of it, okay? And so what it says for single family residential homes from January to September, the most shocking data that I have seen, and this blew me away when I saw it because I didn't even expect this. It says Medford, the home prices in Medford, the median sold price, okay? That's the first thing to note. Median sold price went up 20.6% for the city of Medford. 20.6%, okay? You've probably heard a lot of people talking about home prices are coming down, all this sort of stuff. They went up 20.6% in Medford from January of 2023 to the end of September in 2023. 20.6%. That's crazy. That blew me away. Okay, huge gain in that city in Medford. Ashland, Oregon, on the other hand, went down 18%. Okay, so Medford went from 370 to 446, 500. Ashland went from 670 to 550, down 18% in Ashland. Grants Pass up 8.6%. Central Point down 10%. So a lot of interesting stuff going on there. Okay, when we talk about just the cities in general, and I stopped there at just those 4 kind of the biggest, bigger cities in Southern Oregon: Medford, Ashland, Grants Pass, and Central Point. I stopped there in terms of the city breakdown, and I can break it down more if you have questions or you want to know what your specific city was. Drop it in the comment below, and I'll look into that for you. But I stopped there because there's so much variance. Okay, to see that it went up 20% in Medford and down 18% in Ashland, and then up almost 9% in Grants Pass, but down 10% in Central Point. To me, that's telling me that there's something more going on there within this specific city. So I don't know if there's really any way to look at that and say okay, here's a clear trend. in Medford, it's obviously went up, and Ashland it obviously went down. But like, what is going on behind the scenes to cause such a difference between the cities, right? Like there's got to be some sort of outlier. Maybe we're looking at too small of a sample size of the data. I don't know, but I stopped there, and I wanted to look at what are the counties doing. Okay, so we're going to look at a much bigger, broader picture and see what has happened to Jackson County as a whole since from January 1st, 2023 to the end of September 2023. And what we saw is that the median sold home price went up 9%. Okay, so that's crazy too. Because if you look at the news and you read headlines, they all say, values are coming down and all this, doom and gloom. Maybe that'll happen someday. I don't know. But what has happened up to this point, and that's what we're reporting on, is the 9 months so far, up 9%. Okay. In Josephine County, it's up 6.2%. Right. So what I would take out of that is that no matter which way you really look at it, Southern Oregon as a whole, Jackson County and Josephine County, has seen home values go up from January 1 to September. Okay. It'd be really, really hard to argue that. I don't think anybody with any sense would try to argue that. Okay. They have gone up. That's what the data says. 9% in Jackson County, 6.2% in Josephine County. If you were to break that down specifically into cities, you can, obviously like we did in the beginning, you can find places where it was higher, places where it was lower, or you can even look at smaller subsets of the cities, look at specific neighborhoods, and you could probably find places that went crazy in either direction. And that's because you're getting into a smaller sample size. And I really do think that's what's going on there. That's kind of skewing some of that data for Medford and Ashland. But it's interesting though, because when you look at the median, it's the middle number, right? The median's the middle number. If you were to take all, half of the sales were below it, half the sales were above it. It's the middle. So to see that so much higher is interesting to me, because you would expect maybe that to happen more with an average number where it's more heavily weighted with some like big huge sales at the top that pull that average up. But when you're looking at the median, it shouldn't be doing that. So I will look into that further and see if there's anything more that I can come up with that is a clear indication of why that has happened in those cities. Why did Medford go up 20%? Why did Ashland go down 18%? I'll look at that and see if I can come up with anything. And if I do, I'll put out another video that explains those exact things. So anyways, that is the answer to what's really happening to Southern Oregon home prices. And I hope that is nice and clear. They're going up. They've gone up, I should say, from January to September, irrefutably. They've gone up. Okay. That being said, I want to talk about now the Southern Oregon real estate market information and share what has happened in the last week for that. And so what we saw for the week ending October 3rd, which was yesterday, we saw some pretty good movement. Okay, so as of this morning, October 4th, we had 1,103 homes on the market between Jackson County and Josephine County. Okay, and again, that's looking at single-family residential homes. 1,103. 86 new listings came on the market in the last week. 152 price changes. We'll talk about that in a second. 25 back in the market. 91 went pending. 86 closed, and 64 were either expired, withdrawn, or canceled. Okay, so the first two things that jump out to me in the data for the last week is number one. There's three things. So number one is that the total number of inventory is continuing to come down, but it's not going as fast as I thought it would be. I thought we would be lower by now, but we're not. But it's still kind of trickling down and going in the direction that it should. So that was one. The other thing is that price changes. There were 152 price changes last week. That is surprising. That's high. So I guess it's not really super surprising. What's surprising is the variance that we've seen week to week. Okay. 152 last week, just 4 weeks ago or something, we only saw 68, right? And then before that, 93. So we've gone from, 93 and 68 to 152 to 129. Like, it's all over the place in terms of price changes. So I don't know what to really make of that. There, for that, maybe it's that was high because it was the end of the month. That's one thought there is that people kind of make a decision. We'll let it ride through September and make an adjustment October 1st. That very well could be the case. But yeah, just an interesting observation there is that really hasn't been a very consistent. There hasn't been a consistent trend there. It's just been very variable. Um, and pending is the other one. Pending has been pretty darn good, really. 91 pending transactions last week, like that's solid. And it was 89 the week before, so very very stable. And what we've been seeing is that number's been right around 8% of inventory has been going pending every week for the last few weeks. So that's on par with where we were at in July, right? So you don't think about October or end of September being the same as June and July, but that's where it's at. So it seems like a steadier period of time. The summer months, with summer months, spring, summer is generally the busiest time of year, right? So I think what we're kind of observing here is that the amount of buyers we have in the market right now are really just those serious buyers, right? This is kind of like the level of people who are just serious buyers that are out there ready to buy. It's not the people who are like just kind of trying to take advantage of, hey, I could sell my house for this, double what I paid for it a few years ago, and I'm going to sell it. I'm going to get a killer, 3% mortgage rate and buy this other place, and my payment's going to be the same, right? Like we're not seeing as much of that like we were before. So I think that is partially what led to a lot of like the seasonality. And I think we're seeing less of that, drastic change season to season. I think it's kind of like starting to smooth out because it's just people who are serious buyers right now. So that's one theory. That seems like that's what's going on in my experience of working with buyers and sellers. Getting a lot more people who are moving due to relocating for a job, that kind of stuff, rather than people who are just wanting to trade up here locally and get out of their first home and into a bigger home. That's not happening as much anymore. Anyways, that's what I got for you this week. So hope that was of value to you. Again, if you have anything to add, drop it in the comments down below. Again, I'm Brian Simmons with eXp Realty, licensed real estate agent here in Southern Oregon. So if there's anything I can do to help you learn, buy, or list real estate here in Southern Oregon, I hope you will not hesitate to reach out, call, text, whatever's easiest for you at 541-954-7758. And I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. So hit that like button, click the subscribe icon and the little bell so you don't miss out on the next one, and we'll see you then. Thank you.